The following episode of Life Planning 101 was originally aired in October 2016. Please enjoy.
Welcome to Life Planning 101, brought to you by Kennedy Financial Services of Eastland. Tune in every Monday morning at 8:30 on KATX and KWBY, and again on Saturday morning at 9 on KATX and KWBY as Angela Robinson joins Terry Slavens to share important financial information to help you live life on purpose. Insurance, investments, estate and tax planning, and much more. All covered now on Life Planning 101.
And a very pleasant good Monday morning, everyone. Welcome into Life Planning 101 right here on KATX, KWBY. Terry Slavens with you, joined as always by Angela Kennedy Robinson. Good morning, Angela.
Good Monday morning, and we've got a great show lined up today. As always, there's a lot going on. We have a presidential something, or should we call it an election? I don't know if we should call it the presidential election. I'm really not sure what it is.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's a lot going on. We have a debate this week, another debate, and we had an economist last week come and speak to our clients in Abilene. He was phenomenal. He was from McMurray University, and his name was Dr. Paul Mason, and he teaches economics. He's actually the dean of the business school over there, and it was really, really good because there's a lot going on that people are really concerned about. In fact, BlackRock, which is one of the biggest investment managers in the world, they do private equity, private debt, mutual funds, all these things. And they came out with a survey, and they said 63% of investors believe that this election is going to have a significant impact on the economy. 63%.
That's
large.
2 out of 3.
Yeah, that's very large. And he said more than half of investors right now have increased their cash positions.
Really?
Yes. So there's a lot of fear out there. There's a lot of things going on, and that's really what I want to talk about today. And I want to relay some of the stuff that Dr. Mason said last week, because I thought, this is phenomenal. This is exactly what we've known this whole time, been talking about internally. And I think it's really good for everybody to really understand what this is all about. But before we get into that, I've got some really good stuff as far as, I think, there's a old saying that you can't make a difference in the world till you make a difference in yourself, right? Okay.
Right.
And so I think that's really where our show needs to start, because who cares what this presidential election outcome is going to be if you yourself can't help yourself.
Right.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a minute, because it's really hit me, and it's hit me probably more this year than I've ever seen before. And we do a ton of plans. We work with a lot of people that come in, and I'm telling you, I've never seen anything like this. People that make not a lot of money, I say it's not a lot of money, it's a comfortable income, $100,000, $150,000 of income for a couple, and they have when we're developing the plan, we figure out what's called the black hole. That means money that they don't know necessarily where it's going.
Right.
Okay, because they don't have a budget, and they really just don't know where it's going, and they can't identify it. So it's not for needs, and it's not for savings. That means it's just blown. Does that kind of make sense? It's unaccounted for.
The old thing that people used to tell you to do is take a notebook and write down for a month
what your
every
expenses
time you
are.
spend money.
Right.
Because it's that money at Allsup's, it's that money at Brookshire's that just disappears.
That's exactly right.
You have $100 in your wallet on Monday, and on Friday you have $1, and you're like, where did the other $99 go to?
Yes, and it's bad. Like I mentioned, we've been doing a lot of plans for our clients' kids and things like that, and we are watching these black holes be the size to the tune of $30,000, $50,000, $75,000 is the worst one I've seen this year.
Wow.
So think about that in a year.
And what you could do with that if you...
Yeah.
Instead of just losing
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I often think about, okay, if they only knew what their life was going to be like when they retired and what their emotions were going to be. Because when people retire, their biggest thing is, I'm scared to death. Do I have enough money? Well, the young person you are today is going to be the only person to take care of the old person you're going to be someday, right?
Nobody else is going to take care of you.
Yeah. So when we come back, we're going to talk about some things in relation to this that you don't want to miss, and you don't want to miss the facts about the election.
All right. We'll be back with more Life Planning 101 right after this. And welcome back in Life Planning 101 right here on KTX, KWBY. Angela Robinson with us, and the opportunity in the mirror.
That's right. There's a lot going on in the world. And, we're so focused in on this election and the big effects that we forget to think about the little effects. And I remind you of, throwing a pebble, doing your skipping a rock into the pond, and that first little drop, and then the weight gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So it's all about that first little drop
Right.
that makes all the difference in the world. And that's you. We forget to think about that, but that's you. I just remind you, and I was a kid, okay, and that's not too many years ago, all right? But when I was a kid, I remember getting to go get a Dr. Pepper was a treat.
Right.
It was a special treat. It was not something that we did all the time. We maybe ate out for dinner once every couple weeks
Right.
when I was a kid. That was a special treat. When you got a hole in your pants, your mom patched it up. It wasn't something that you and
Now
mom...
you buy them that way.
That's exactly right, yeah. And, you think about today, and you walk down the street, and now don't get me wrong, I'm not here to be accusatory, but we live in a nation that's overweight.
Yes.
Kids are struggling with weight. I don't remember that when I was a child. I remember, maybe one or two kids, but not the whole population of kids struggling with their weight. We're in difficult times, but we're not starving. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Here we are. We are ranked as the fattest country in the world. Everybody goes to Starbucks, right? And we buy $4 and $5 cups of coffee, and we don't even blink at doing that. Restaurants are in full swing most days of the week. I'll never forget. It was December 2008, and I was driving to Montana with my husband because we decided, okay, it's cheaper this year. We're going to drive, times are tough, yada, yada. And we stop in Denver, and we're so worn out, and we can't find a place to eat because every restaurant is full to the hilt on a Tuesday night.
Right.
Okay, December 2008, right? And we're supposed to be in this great recession, the worst thing since the Great Depression, right? Is it really like that? Is it really like that? Or is it just a figment of our imagination? I think we really live in a time that today it's just about keeping up with the Joneses. And if you can't keep up with the Joneses, then that's destitute.
Right.
And that's really sad.
Yes.
It's really sad. So again, I believe sometimes the opportunity is looking in the mirror. Like I mentioned, that black hole. What are you spending money on? That it really doesn't matter, because when you look at it, the government, the financial institutions, insurers, big businesses, whoever they are, they live beyond their means. Well, why do they live beyond their means? Because we've let them. We're all over borrowing and overspending.
The government.
That's right. Okay, so, I think this was a perfect email. It was circulated several years ago, and I still think about it. I thought about yesterday in church, because our sermon was much about this, too, is it was talking about a man that got stranded on an island, and he had built a hut for himself to live in, and yada, yada. He went to get off some food and go get some food, and he came back, and his hut was on fire, and he was panicking. He fell to his knees in desperation, and next thing you know, a helicopter landed and said, well, thank goodness that you sent up that signal so we could see it. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so sometimes when we're on our knees in desperation, we need to look and see what the real opportunity is there. And I think that's one of these times right now. We're going through this presidential election, and a lot of people are fearful. But really, and we're going to talk about this at the end of the show, really, there's only a couple driving moments. It's back to you. It's back what's in the mirror that's going to make the difference for your future. And the biggest opportunity you have is this wake-up call. Think about it.
Yes.
Okay. So, that black hole that we're all overspending, and I'm including myself in this conversation. What can we do about that? If the young person we are today takes care of the old person that we're going to be someday. It blows my mind when I see people that come in and they have $300,000 or $400,000 of income, and they have maybe $2,000 or $3,000 in a savings account.
And that's it.
That's it. And I'm like, what if something happens? What if your air conditioner goes out? Well, I'll put it on a credit card. Really? And what's your credit card interest? Oh, I don't know, 12, 15%. That's the way we live today, and we make it okay, and it's not okay. Because what if we fell on hard times? It's like a cycle. You just start drowning in like a little drainage tube down your sink. You're not going to be able to get out of it. You're not going to be able to breathe. So, setting yourself up today is the most important thing you can do.
And what are we teaching our kids?
That's exactly right. That's
because
exactly right.
it's going to be a snowball effect. I mean, everyone wants it now.
Yes.
They don't want to wait for anything.
No.
And our kids see that, and they expect the same thing.
No. When we're talking about budgeting, and I think that's really the core of everything is budgeting. And I know that sounds like an awful word. It doesn't mean that you have to restrict yourself. It just means that you know how to spend your money. because you have a guide. You know what you can spend it on, what would be overspending, what isn't overspending. But, you have what you call your emergency savings, and you set that up and you keep it there. I am first to be able to say in 2015, I spent every dime of my emergency savings. And I was upset and I was, my stomach hurts every day. But you know what? I didn't have to dip into anything else because it was there. And what about that savings to spend account? Just like what you said, Terry, what are we teaching our kids? If they want to earn something, if they want to get something, help them learn to save to be able to spend. That's really important, right?
Right.
When we come back, I'm going to give you some really great budgeting apps. And like I promised, little facts on the election you don't want to miss.
Little facts on the election. Coming up soon, too. It's right around the corner, November 8th. 2 weeks from tomorrow?
That's right.
Is it 2 weeks? 3 weeks.
Yeah,
3 weeks.
3 weeks. We're
3 weeks
out.
from tomorrow. All right, we'll be back with more Life Planning 101 right after this. Life Planning 101 continues here on KTX KWBY. The opportunity in the mirror, and there are lots and lots of opportunities that we're missing, and you're going to give us some tidbits on the election?
That's right. That's right.
I'm looking forward to this.
Well, yes. And, because, again, everybody's panicked right now. We're scared. Here we are. BlackRock study, 50% of investors have moved to more cash in their portfolio. Okay. You've got, what was the other number? 63% believe that who is elected is going to have a significant change on our economy.
Right.
And I'm not saying over time I disagree or agree, but I am going to let you know what we've heard from this economist last week, because I thought this was extremely interesting. It's not the first time that it has crossed our beady little brains. So to hear a doctor and, economics talk about it was really, really good, because I do believe it to be truth, and I do believe it's going to help you be able to move forward. But the most thing that's going to help you be able to move forward is you. And you've got to get your ducks in a row. If you don't know where your dollars are going and what you're spending it on, how will you ever know what you're going to need in retirement?
You won't. There's no way.
And when you get to retirement, if you don't know where your dollars are going and what you're spending it on, how do you ever know if you're going to have a comfortable retirement or not? So many people are worried about the market. What about themselves? What about their habits? What do they know to expect or not to expect? We did a great deal, and I encourage you to go on our website, Kennedy-financial.com, and subscribe to our weekly newsletter, okay? This week, we're going to have a little sheet. It's on 11 different apps for budgeting. 11 apps, and they're really good. Some of them, it's just simply setting up the bank link on there. It feeds itself and kind of gives you a report.
Right.
Some of them kind of like the envelope system that you may have been accustomed to when you're a kid. You just take pictures of your receipts and it does it for you. And you can actually link it with your household, so a husband and wife can do it together, and then you can review it. So that's really good. But there's 11 different ones of these, okay? And I encourage you to do something, to start somewhere and know where your dollars are going, because if you don't know where your dollars are going, no one can help you. You can't help you. No one can help you. And that's a consistent theme. I mean, seriously, how do you know if you can afford to go buy a new car if you don't know what you spend every month?
You can't.
Okay. And here's a little test for you. I want you to write down your budget. Write it out. And yes, I've got my arms crossed here because I'm very, very, what's the word here? Negative about this. So, write down your little budget. And then once you got it written down, if you have zeros at the end of your budget, like, so $100, $500, $50 here, $150, that's a good indication you have no idea what you're spending.
Right.
And I promise you, your black hole is massive, okay? Because it's just experience, right? We have 26 years of experience of seeing people write down their budgets, and that is the first telltale sign that someone hasn't been budgeting. I'm telling you. And most people that believe they're spending $10,000 a month, get this, are spending $20,000. If they believe they're spending $5,000 a month, get this, they're spending $10,000. It's double whatever you think you are spending on an annual basis. You will be shocked. I promise you. So it's worth the time and the effort to do it, because how do you ever know what you're going to be able to do with your life if you don't know where you're at today and what
But a lot
you
of
need?
people are afraid to look at their budget.
They are afraid. But you know what? Progress only starts by telling the truth.
That's right.
And who do you have to tell the truth to first?
Yourself.
That's right. That's right. So if you want to make progress, if you want to be able to have a more comfortable night's sleep, Don't watch the election, just watch the highlights and work on your budget, because I promise you it's a lot more important. Yes, I agree. This election is huge. It's massive. It's probably the biggest election of our lifetime, because I believe it's going to take our country in one of two directions. It already has taken in a sense of direction that nobody wants the social issues involved, right? But what is all this other stuff? I have no idea. It's just nuts. So do you keep a budget? And then get yourself one of these apps. I'll name a few. My favorites. Mint. You Need a Budget. Good Budget. Wally. I just like saying that. Level Money. And Unsplurge. Those are some of my favorites on here. There's 11 different ones. You can, again, go on and check these out at Kennedy-financial.com. Also on KATXradio.com and KWBYradio.com. Next to where we put the show every week for re-recording, you can actually download those articles there and see them. And there's a corresponding article with everything that we do.
Right.
So it's really, really good information. You don't want to miss that because it is all about you. It is all about you. It's not about this election. I think that's the most important thing. Now, let's kind of get back to that, because I do know there's a lot of fear out there. And here's what I'm going to tell you. If you look at what happened in 2008, we all remember that great October in 2008. It was a result of something that started in 1992.
So 16 years prior.
Yes. So when we talk about this election, how long will the impact take to have something come to fruition? Could be a long time.
Right.
Are you going to sit in cash for 16 years?
If you do, you're not going to be making much headway on your retirement plans.
That's exactly right. Okay, so you can't let the fear of the unknown drive your decisions. There's opportunity no matter which party gets elected. It's just knowing where to find that opportunity. Okay, if we're talking about health care going up, guess what? There's opportunity there, right? If we're talking about decreased government spending in certain areas, guess what? Then we need to be looking at private sector, right? So there's all kinds of things that you can look at. And I think that's really important for people to realize that it doesn't matter which side. I will tell you what matters. And that's the Federal Reserve's decision to raise these rates. And this was something that Dr. Paul Mason hit on heavily last week. It has nothing to do with the election. It has everything to do with the Fed's decision to raise rates. They should have pulled off that Band-Aid a long time ago, and they didn't. And it's hurting us. We've been talking about this on the show through several factors. When we talk about CDs and not paying anything, when we talk about insurance and how it's hurting insurance companies. And it's literally becoming like an epidemic in our country because our rates are low. Money is not flowing because rates are so low. They're abnormally low.
Yeah, unbelievably low.
That's right. So they have to pull that Band-Aid off. Now, a lot of people believe, well, when they do that, that's going to hurt everything, right? Well, short-term rates will be affected first. It'll take a while for long-term rates to actually catch on to that. So we've got a little breathing room in there, and I don't think they're going to raise them like 1%. But I do think they need to start raising them, because if they don't start raising them, we're going to end up like Japan, which I believe if Aaron was here, he could tell us 20 years of a stagnated economy, and
right.
That's actually experienced deflation, and we're headed that way. So they've got to fix something, and that's what you need to be paying attention to. What you don't need to worry about is what's going to happen in this election. Now, I'm not saying for our kids, for our future, and trust me, I am very, very passionate voter, okay? So I have a lot of belief behind my little mouth here. And I guess it's not little. But I do have a lot of belief, and I have a lot of passion, and I'm not saying that's not what's important, but it's not what's important when it comes to your investments and saving for retirement in the short term. What you need to be focused on is your disciplines and your processes. And if you don't have something that makes you feel comfortable right now to be able to get you through these times, you need to talk to us, because we will help you through this. Yes, we've shored up our positions to be more conservative, but we haven't gone to cash. We've shored up our positions to be able to guarantee principal, but we haven't gone to cash.
Right.
And we aren't at the sacrifice of what these low interest rates are doing completely. So I think it's really important for people to understand that they have options. They have things out there that they can get their hands on and be able to work with. It's not just cash or market. And that's what we're so accustomed to, is all we've got is stocks, bonds, and cash. It's not true anymore. There's so many alternatives out there that you can utilize. And we've been doing that for, over 15 years now. We try to resemble Yale Endowment, Harvard Endowment's design in their asset allocation, because if you look at their returns, they beat the market over time. And the reason that they do is because they do other things besides these traditional investments. And I think, that's where you need to be focused right now, is thinking outside the box to help you sleep at night, but help you accomplish your goals. And I'm going to take this back, okay? It all starts with what?
You.
That's right. Okay, so Terry, you learned today.
I learned something today.
Yes. We do have an important election, but the main thing is that you look in the mirror and you realize the opportunity lies with your discipline to plan. I have a great quote I want to share with you. This was by a gentleman named Nick Murray. He's one of my favorite guys in the industry. He's always in my head saying, if you don't learn to serve the total needs of the people that you work with, someone else will. So that's how we designed life planning, was around the idea that we will learn to serve everything that they need inside their lives when it comes to do with money, right? And his quote is this, that you're going to love. The origin of all wealth is threefold: personal initiative, hard work, and thrift. So in other words, people, live below your means today so you won't outlive your means tomorrow, right?
And work hard.
That's right. My name is Angela Robinson with Kennedy Financial Services here in Eastland, Texas. We wish everyone a very happy October, and God bless this great country. And do say prayers for it, because it does need prayers for the future of our direction. Just remember that it's not what's going to happen in this election that's going to make a move of what happens in our markets over the next 90, 180, 360, or even possibly 8 years.
Wow. Good information. Thanks so much. And another great show coming up next week.
Thank you for joining us for Life Planning 101, brought to you by Kennedy Financial Services of Eastland. Tune in every Monday morning at 8:30 on KATX and KWBY, and again on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock on KATX and KWBY for more Life Planning 101.
Advisory services offered through Smart Money Group, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities offered through Calton & Associates Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Kennedy Financial Services Incorporated is an independent of Calton & Associates Incorporated and Smart Money Group, LLC.